Hello, good afternoon everyone. Okay. So, ang i-discuss lang natin ngayong araw is yung Ultimate Strength Design Flexure on Beams pa rin, no? I-recap ko yung Single Reinforce, which I've given the module and video, di ba, sa Single Reinforce na doon sa LMS ninyo. So, kung binisit niyo yung LMS ninyo, last week ata or last week yun, so, nag-upload na ako doon ng video for Single Reinforce, no? Actually, that is for USD or Ultimate Strength Design. And then, an example, meron din doon sa video na yon example for Single Reinforce. Actually, the video was from my friend, Victor. No, he is one of my friend way back nung nagtuturo pa ako doon sa Cebu. So he is also a review lecturer, and now currently he owned he is one of the founder of KPAP, which is one of the review center for civil engineers sa Manila. So ayun, nagpa-vlog kasi yun si Victor, kaya yun na lang din yung binigay kong example or video para sa ano to, single reinforced beam. Now, for double reinforced naman, ngayon magsasolve tayo ng example for double reinforced. And actually, today, I will give an example for single reinforced. Uulitin ko naman, no? Bibigay ulit ako ng mga example for single reinforced and magbibigay ako ng isang example for double reinforced. Okay? So, konting recap lang dun sa ultimate strength design. So when you say ultimate strength design, no, it is following the mm, ano to, the load combination, no? Magkakaroon na tayo ng load combination dito sa ultimate strength design. Unlike doon sa WSD or working strength design na wala pa tayong load combination kapag nag-a-add tayo ng working ng dead load at saka ng live load, no? Kung mapapansin nyo doon sa example na binigay ko sa inyo, kapag ina-add natin yung dead load tsaka live load, gumagamit tayo ng load factor in combination. So here are the different load factor and combination na ginagamit natin. But actually for the very common combination here is the first one, the second, and yung may mga earthquake. Ito. Ito sila yung mga combination na magagamit talaga natin, no? Parati talagang nagagamit. At saka kung sa board exam naman yung pinag-uusapan, yung load combination ng 1.2 dead load plus 1.6 live load, yan yung pinaka-common. Okay? So sa halos lahat ng problem na makikita nyo, ito yung ginagamit. Kasi halos ng binibigay lang dito is dead load and live load lang. So if you combine, no, two loads, kunwari magko-combine ka ng dalawang load, say for example, doon kasi sa WSD kapag nagko-combine tayo ng dalawang load, ina-add lang diretso natin. So for example, meron tayo dito W ng dead load and W ng live load. So kapag gusto mo yan silang i-add, you need to use the load combination 1.2 W dead load plus 1.6 W live load to get the ultimate load here because this is ultimate strength design. No, kapag USD and WSD man naman yung previous topic natin, so pwede mo lang i-add diretso tong W live load and W dead load. So i-add mo lang yan diretso, no need to load factor doon sa WSD. Since service loads yung mga ginagamit natin kapag WSD, no? Mga service load, hindi ultimate load. Dito ultimate kasi yung ginagamit natin. So sabi dito sa WSD, from the design criteria, the required strength daw is U. It should be less than or equal to the reduction factor times the nominal strength or the design strength, no? This is what we call the nominal strength. So dito sa flexure on beams, ang magiging concern natin dito, of course, from the word flexure is yung bending, yung moment. So if you want to get the ultimate bending moment, it is equal to the reduction factor times the nominal moment. So ito yung magiging equation natin for the ultimate bending moment, which is yung halos concern natin talaga dito, no? Kapag flexure on beams. So, okay. Ayun, nakalagay naman dito. The ultimate moment should be should be less than or equal time to the nominal moment times the reduction factor. So phi here is the reduction factor, mu is the ultimate required moment, and m sub n is the nominal moment. So for the shear, this is the ultimate shear, nominal shear. ultimate torsion, nominal torsion, ultimate actual load, nominal actual load. So, parang ganyan lang yan. So, sa analysis ng ano 'to, USD, halos magkaparehas lang sila dun sa WSD, 'no? Ang magiging figure lang natin dito is medyo iba lang siya. Kasi dun kasi sa WSD, yung ginagamit natin na, area ng concrete doon is yung whole area na nasa taas ng neutral axis, 'di ba? Kapag kinuck natin yung beam natin, yung area dito sa buong sa buong yung area dito sa taas ng neutral axis, yun yung kino-consider natin sa WST, 'no? Dun sa previous topic natin, yung prelim topic natin. But for the UST, Ultimate Strength Design or LRFD, 'no? Ang ginagamit lang natin dito is a part, 'no? Part lang siya ng compression concrete. This is the compression side, part lang siya ng compression concrete dito. Hindi natin ginagamit yung whole concrete dito sa compression side. So yung concrete dito na ginagamit lang natin 'no or yung compression, yung area ng compression concrete na ginagamit lang natin dito is may depth na siya A, may depth siyang A, 'no? Doon kasi sa WST, yung whole area dito sa compression side, yun yung ginagamit natin. And then may depth yun na X, 'di ba? May depth na X. Dito naman, and yung X doon sa WSD, yung definition ni X is the distance from neutral axis to the outermost compression fiber. So dito naman, yun naman si C. Itong si C is the distance from neutral axis to the outermost compression fiber. Pero itong C na 'to, hindi na 'to siya ang depth ng concrete na nagre-resist ng bending dito. Okay? Yung depth ng concrete na nagre-resist ng bending sa USD or sa Ultimate Strength Design is itong si A na lang. Okay? Kung doon sa WSD, ulitin ko, kung doon sa WSD, yung whole concrete sa compression side yung ginagamit natin, dito dito sa USD naman, hindi na yun natin ginagamit yung whole part lang ng compression concrete yung ginagamit natin, which is itong area na A times B. Ito lang yun, okay? So, ngayon, ang procedure dito is ganito lang yung gagawin nyo. First is, idodraw mo yung cross section, parehas pa rin, no? Idodraw natin yung cross section. After mong madraw yung cross section ng ating beam, ika-crack mo na yan. Okay, say for example, this is AS, singly reinforced na lang muna. Ika-crack mo yan dun sa may neutral axis niya banda. If na-draw mo na or naka-assume ka na ng horizontal line which represents your neutral axis, i-draw mo na yung concrete, part lang ng concrete sa taas. Say this is the concrete, the part of the concrete which will resist the compression, no? The compression or the bending, okay? For the compression side. So ito may depth na A and ito may depth na C. Then, here, you have AS. Now, for WSD, hindi tayo pwedeng mag-analyze ng steel at saka concrete ng sabay, no? Concrete ng sabay. So, ang ginagawa natin dun sa WSD, kung matatandaan ninyo, kino-convert natin si steel into concrete. Pero dito, sa USD or Ultimate Strength Design, ang ginagawa dito, no? Hindi na natin kino-convert yung steel sa concrete. No, hindi na natin kailangan i-convert ito sa concrete kasi yung ina-analyze dito is mga forces na, 'no? Unlike doon, yung mga area yung ina-analyze kasi doon, eh, nakabase sa area at saka nakabase sa flexural stress formula sa MC/I. So, kapag gagamit ka kasi ng MC/I, dapat homogeneous yung section. Dapat isang element lang. Kung steel, steel lang. Kung RC, RC lang. But for the USD, for this topic, hindi na natin kailangan i-convert yung ating bakal sa concrete. Kasi forces naman yung ating ina-analyze dito. Okay. So, ngayon, if na-crack na natin yung ating ano 'to, if na-crack na natin yung ating beam, no, and then, hanap mo na si A, si C, at saka yung effective depth. Of course, alam niyo na siguro kung hanapin si effective depth, 'no? Kasi napakaimportante ng effective depth. So, okay, ito gagawin ko. Wait lang. Gagawin ko dito, ganito. So, if na-crack mo na yung iyong beam, ganito yung makikita mo dapat, 'no? Yung part lang ng concrete sa taas ng neutral axis, ayan. Hindi siya aabot sa neutral axis, eh, 'no? So, this is your A, which is the depth of the compression block that will resist the bending. And this is C, which is the distance from neutral axis to the extreme compression concrete fiber. Ayan. And ito naman si AS. Ayan si AS. Now, ngayon, yung mga forces dito, expose mo lang. So yung bakal dito sa tension side, this is for the tension side and this is for the compression side. So yung bakal dito, of course, may tensile force yan. No? Mga forces na yung expose natin. And dito naman sa taas, kunin mo yung centroid or center of gravity ng compressive area or compressive concrete na naiwan dito. Okay? So since this is a rectangular, nasa gitna lang yung kanyang center of gravity. And then kunin mo yung distance papunta sa taas. If this is A, this will be A over 2. And yung pababa naman, this will also be A over 2. Now, dito sa centroid niya, dito ngayon mag-a-act yung compressive force C. Ayan. So, baka malito kayo dito ha. Etong C na maliit, this is the distance from the neutral axis to the outermost compression fiber. Etong C naman na malaki, this is a force, okay? This is a force. Now, di ba, kinukuha din natin dito yung distance from the extreme compression fiber papunta dito sa AS. Kung matatandaan ninyo, this is your effective depth D. That is the depth. Okay? Dito, papunta dito sa area ng bakal. Centroid ng bakal, papunta sa extreme concrete compression fiber. That is your effective depth D. So therefore, if that is the effective depth D, then this moment arm here from the two forces, C and T, will be equal to D minus A over 2. Okay, nakikita nyo ba? So, paano yan? So, di ba, this is A over 2 papunta sa taas. This is D. So, para makuha mo yung distance between these two forces, yung D, babawasan mo lang siya ng A over 2. So, yun yung moment arm ng dalawang forces na to. Bakit natin kinukuha yung moment arm niyan? Kasi, silang dalawa nagpuproduce ng couple. Medyo familiar siguro to sa inyo. Pag meron kang forces na dalawang, na, parang ganito yung position nila, and may distance sila sa isa't isa, no? Nag-create to ng couple, which is yung moment na napuproduce dito sa beam natin. This will be the interior and will represent the nominal moment na nakikreate dito sa beam. So, parang ganito na yung magiging direction ng moment dito. This is your couple which will represent the nominal moment. So, ang first na gagawin nyo dito, no? Ang first na gagawin nyo for analysis, kung analysis kasi, no? Kung analysis, ang given sa analysis is yung area ng bakal, no? AS, ayan, yung dimension, okay, ganyan, no? Tapos, ang hinahanap naman yung mga capacity, ganyan, no? Given AS, ganyan yan. So, ngayon, kung analysis yung ating problem, kasi makikita mo yun sa mga problem eh. Kapag given yung bakal, analysis diretso yan. And yung first step na gagawin mo is you sum up forces horizontal equal to 0. Say rightward force here is positive. So therefore, you have T minus C equal to 0. Therefore, you have tension equal to compression. Ayan. So after that, you will equate, after this, you will substitute the equivalent of these forces. Ano ba equivalent ni T? Di ba si T is equal to AS, Fs kapag non-yielding. Kapag nag-yield naman, itong Fs na to, mapapalitan siya ng Fy. Tama? AS, Fy. O, sana nakinig kayo doon sa video na pinasa ko sa inyo para medyo recap na lang to. Then si compression naman, si C, this is equal to the stress of concrete. Kung makikita nyo si C dito is the compressive force due to this concrete. Okay? Due to this concrete. So ngayon, ang equivalent ng force C, this is the force C, capital letter C, this is equal to the stress times the area of the concrete block. So ano bang stress ni concrete dito sa USD? For USD, the stress of concrete is 0.85 FC prime. O ilan yung kay WSD? Yung stress niya kay WSD, di ba, is 0.45 FC prime kung matatandaan niyo. Yung FC natin yung FC natin, which is the stress of the concrete, is 0.45 FC prime sa WSD, dun sa previous topic natin. But for USD, 0.85 na siya. So, mas pinalaki na yung kanyang stress dito. Kung USD kasi, parang sinasagad natin yung strength ng isang concrete. So, yung area naman dito is yung area ng concrete block na resist sa benting. Ang may iwang area dito, kung makikita nyo, you have the depth A times B. So, therefore, the area will be AB. And after that, no, you equate this to, you have AS, FS or FY equal to 0.85 FC prime AB. And then you get A. After you get A, you get C. And then you solve for FS. You check for FS. So, madadaanan naman natin yan mamaya sa example. So, okay. Okay na siguro yan. Introduction lang yan. So, ngayon, titignan naman natin yung ibang formulas na dapat tandaan dito. So dito sa module niyo binigay ko naman to, no? Yung formula for A, which is equal to beta times C. Ito yung relationship ni A and ni C. So si A daw is equal to beta times C. Ito, no? Ito. So your beta naman is base sa value ni FC prime. So kapag gumagamit ka ng value ni beta, titignan mo parate yung FC prime. Tandaan yan ha. Kapag gumagamit ka ng value ni beta, titignan mo yung value ni FC prime. Kapag yung iyong FC prime na binigay, no? Yung FC prime na binigay sa problem is greater or equal to 17 but less than or equal to 28, yung iyong beta is magiging 0.85. Kapag naman yung FC prime is greater than 28 but less than 25, yung iyong beta naman will be base will be based on this equation. Kunwari, 30 yung FC prime mo, so nabebelong siya dito, no? Sa greater than 28 but less than 55. So ilagay mo lang yung 30 na FC prime and you will get the value of beta based on this equation, no? So based on this equation. Now, for FC prime naman greater, no? For FC prime greater or equal to 55, no? Ganito yung dapat nilagay. Ayan, mas maganda kung ganito mo yung nilagay. Ganito yung nilagay. For FC prime greater or equal to 55, kapag mas malaki na siya sa 55, yung beta natin is equal to 0.65. So, base dito, kung titignan ninyo, the maximum value for beta is 0.85 and the minimum value of beta is 0.65. And kung makikita nyo dito, habang lumalaki yung FC prime, papalaki ng papalaki yung FC prime, papaliit naman yung ating beta. So, they are directly or indirectly proportional. So, FC prime is indirectly proportional to beta. Hindi siya directly. Kung directly sana, kung lalaki yung isa, lalaki din yung isa. But for this one, kung lalaki yung FC prime, liliit yung beta. So, they are indirectly proportional to each other. So dito, yung mga derivation ng formula nakalagay naman dito. Actually, this is the analysis, no? Analysis of singly reinforced beam for flexure. So ang unang ginagawa dito is you equate compression and tension forces, then solve for A. Nakalagay yung procedure, oh. So ito na yung 0.85 FC prime A as FY because if we solve, no, if we analyze the flexure on beams using USD, we assume the steel will yields and then we check for it if it yields or hindi, no? Kung mali yung assumption natin, then balik tayo. So may example tayo mamaya. Solve for C, then check for FS. Susundin lang talaga natin to. Then solve for the nominal moment and then solve for MU. So itong mga procedure na nandito, susundin lang talaga to natin. Ito naman yung nandito, nauuna pala yung design of singly reinforced beam. Kapag design of singly reinforced beam, ang una mong masosolve dito is si A, no? Sabi dito, solve for A and then C, then check FS. Yan yung nakalagay dito. Okay? So given naman yung MU dito, ang hahanapin mo naman dito is yung AS, no? Solve for AS and solve for the number of bars kung ilan yung kailangan. Okay? So, ayan. I hope inaakal nyo to. So, I have a summary here of those formulas na binigay ko. So, nakasummary na yan dito. So, dito, sa ultimate strength design ng beams, using NSCP 2015, no? dapat gamitin na natin dito is 2015 na code. Since ito na yung ginagamit or ito na yung latest na NSAP na ina-adapt na ng ano natin ng organization ng PICE, no? So for the load combination for the load combination of dead load and live load, we have 1.2 and 1.6. We have these factors, no? Ginagamit natin for the load combination of dead load and live load. And then we have the allowable stresses, no? Yung FC natin dito, ito yung stress ng bakal natin na ginagamit, oh, yung 0.85 FC prime. So this is the maximum stress na ginagamit natin dito for the concrete, I mean. For the steel naman, you have the tensile strength of steel Fy and the allowable tensile strength of steel Fs. And then you have three modes of design here. We have the balanced design, the under reinforced design. So, and the last one is the over reinforced design. I think na-explain to ni Victor, no, doon sa kanya, doon sa video na pinasa ko sa inyo. So, in-explain niya doon kung ano yung design na mas maganda or mas prefer ng mga engineers, no? So we have the balanced design. So sabay sabay yung pag-fail ng concrete at saka ng steel. Kapag under-reinforced naman, ang ibig sabihin ng under-reinforced, kulang siya sa reinforcement. So magfi-fail na yung steel, hindi pa magfi-fail yung ating concrete, kaya under-reinforced. Yung over-reinforced naman, so over, from the word over, maraming bakal. Maraming bakal. So unang magfi-fail yung concrete kaysa kay steel. Ayan. So, for singly reinforced beams, ang tatandaan nyo dito is ito. Okay? Yung tatandaan nyo is itong beam natin is reinforced for tension only. Actually, we have discussed already what is the difference, no? So, of singly and double reinforced beams, di ba? Doon pa lang sa WSD, nag-solve tayo doon ng beams na reinforced siya sa compression and tension side. Okay? Which is doble. For singly reinforced, ganito. Sa tension side lang siya singly reinforced beam. Sa tension side lang siya nare-reinforce. For double reinforced beam, meron sa compression and meron sa tension. AS prime and AS, dito AS lang. Ayan, kung maalala ninyo. Now, how to define, no? Or how to determine if whether our beam is singly or double reinforced. Now, we have these limitations for the singly reinforced. Sabi dito, no, ma-define mo lang na singly reinforced yan if yung iyong raw actual is less than or equal raw max but greater than raw minimum. Actually, kahit wag nyo na itong isipin, no? Basta yung raw actual lang natin is greater or raw actual natin is less than or equal lang sa raw max. Kasi, minsan talaga, bumababa yung ating raw actual kaysa kay raw max. Pwedeng mangyari na yung raw actual natin is less than siya kay raw minimum, no? Tapos, yung raw actual natin, less than din siya kay raw max, no? Therefore, ang raw actual is ang nandito and ang raw minimum is nandito. Ayan. Ang ibig sabihin lang yan, napakaliit ng ating bakal na nilagay, no? Kasi yung raw actual kasi, yun yung formula for raw kasi is AS over BD. So, kapag maraming bakal, mas lalaki to. Pero kung mas maliit lang yung bakal, no, under reinforce ka, liliit to. Minsan, liliit pa yan sa raw minimum. Pero hindi kasi natin dapat gamitin yung raw na mas maliit sa raw minimum, no? Ito yung limitation natin. Ang tatandaan nyo dito kapag nagsosolve kayo, no? Kapag nagsosolve kayo, lalo na kapag design, sa design lang naman ito magagamit, no? Kapag nagde-design kayo, kapag meron kayong raw actual, sinolve nyo to, nakakuha kayo ng value, and then meron kayong raw minimum, nakakuha din kayo ng value, and then raw max din, nakakuha kayo ng value. Yung gusto nyong design is single reinforced beam. Kapag ito ay 0.003, yung raw max naman 0.05, and ito naman 0.004. Kung makikita nyo dito, yung raw actual, no, is less than this 2. Meaning, parang yung sinabi ko kanina na yung actual is nandito, mas maliit pa siya sa raw minimum. And mas maliit pa siya doon sa raw max. Tama? So, mas maliit yung raw actual sa raw minimum at saka raw max. Now, hindi puwede na mas maliit itong raw actual sa raw minimum. Ang gagawin mo dito, hindi mo 'to i-a-adapt, 'no, hindi 'to puwede. Ito yung limitation natin for singly reinforced. Meaning, dapat yung values natin is within this range lang, 'no? Within the raw minimum and raw max lang yung ating values. So kapag bumaba ka sa raw minimum, yung raw minimum yung gagamitin mo. You will not adapt this, you will use this as your